Welcome back. This is part two of our lecture on phenotypes and genotypes. Using trees in the calculation of probability, especially in calculations that involve conditional probabilities, is a very useful tool. And these probability trees are going to be diagrams that can be used to organize the information we have while getting ready to carry out some calculations. So these are trees because of the shape of the diagram. Excuse me. They can be used in processes that involve two or more random experiments, um, and we will illustrate these shortly. In these diagrams, the calculation of the ultimate probabilities we're interested in will result as the multiplication of the probabilities along branches of these diagrams, of these so-called trees. So we're going to end up multiplying these probabilities that appear along the branches of a tree to come up to yield the probability that we're going after. So here is a basic schematic of one of these diagrams called a tree, and we will start writing probabilities. Each line here, there is a starting point. There's a starting point right here, or a starting node, and this node branches out into two branches. Okay, so this node is going to be containing the information. This node here is going to contain the information of the father, and each of these branches here is going to have another bifurcation node, okay, and that is going to contain the information of the mother here in this diagram. So let me just make some annotations here. So this is containing the information of the mother. Okay, so now we're going to write on the branches the information that we have. So we write along the branch, this branch, the allele, the information we have. So there's one dominant allele that we specified along that branch. And then along the other branch coming from the father, there is the all possible allele. So we're going to do the same for the branches corresponding to the genetic information for the mother. So similarly, we write the alleles that can be inherited from the mother, and so we're trying to sketch different possibilities. So now we go on to write probabilities, okay, along the branches here on this diagram called the probability tree. So you can see that there are two possibilities, and this allele would be a random event that is 1 out of 2. There are two branches, so there's one chance of traveling along that branch, right? So we're going to write a probability here saying that this has probability. We'll write this in just a second. And that is an event with probability 1 out of 2, with probability 1/2. And similarly, for this event of going along this branch, that is a possibility of 1 out of 2. So the branches which are denoting the possibilities of inheriting an allele from the mother are going to be similar, right? So for these two branches, this allele has a probability of 1/2, and this allele has the probability of 1/2. However, traveling along this branch, one ends up in one of these two is the same. This is 1 out of 2. The chance of getting on this branch is 1 out of these two branches, and similarly for this. So let's talk about possible outcomes here. If we start on this initial node, travel along this branch, and then travel along this other branch, we will be inheriting one dominant allele from the father, one dominant allele from the mother, and then the outcome will be this this outcome, this genotype right here. That okay, that is one out of 4 possible outcomes. You can travel along that upper branch from the father, then the lower branch from the mother, and that would give you this other outcome with one dominant and one non-dominant allele. And then you have these possibilities if instead you choose to travel along the branch of the non-dominant allele for the father, and then the dominant allele coming from the mother, that gives you this outcome. And then finally, we have the outcome in which both parents are contributing with the non-dominant allele. So what we'd like to do is to actually write the probability for this outcome. And so to end up at this outcome, we would have to combine the probabilities of the branches needed to be taken to arrive at that outcome. And so that is the notion of multiplication of probabilities. So to arrive at this outcome, we will multiply 1/2 the probability on this first branch and multiply that by the probability of this other branch. So that's 1/2 times 1/2, which gives us the probability of 1/4. And similarly, for the probabilities associated with this, we would have to multiply 1/2 times 1/2, which also gives us 1/4. And here, all these probabilities are straightforward because of the strong mathematical assumptions we're making. This also has probability 1/4, and here we also find 1/2 times 1/2 equals to 1/4. So this is telling us that the probability of ending up with this genotype is 1 out of 4, this genotype 1 out of 4, this one is 1/4, and this one is also 1/4. So those calculations are now summarized in this tree that has better resolution than the one that I did by hand. Here we have on the first node as a contribution from the father, traveling along the upper branch. We have this genotype. This is, in this example, has the phenotype of showing, manifesting the color green, and that has a probability of 1/4 given that we're multiplying 1/2 times 1/2. Similarly, for the probability of having this genotype, uppercase B, lowercase b, that has also probability of 1/4, and the same for this event. Okay, so the probability of having a green would be the addition of these 4 probabilities: 1/4 plus 1 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. That would be 0.75 of 3/4, and the probability of having a yellow would be 1/4. Another tool that is common in this context is to use tables, also called as Punnett squares, in which you can put the contribution of the father on one side of the table, the contribution of the mother on the other side of the table, and then these cells here, these things inside, are taking care of all possible combinations of these allele from the father with the various alleles from the mother. So this contribution, uppercase B, with this would give you this genotype, right? While this dominant with this non-dominant, this gives you this other genotype, and so on, right? So you could translate a tree into one of these tables, or one of these tables into a tree. It's another common tool. And we end here with 2 exercises left for you. So suppose we have a male parent that is heterozygous and a female parent is homozygous for the dominant allele. So we have this situation, you're given this information, and then to kind of put in practice what we just discussed, let's write down the Punnett square, then write down the probability tree and determine the probabilities of each possible genotype. That's one exercise. And this is the second exercise that is left. This example, I guess, is left as an exercise. So With this, we conclude our lecture on phenotypes and genotypes.